Yes, of course, great joy today. The Nnamdi Kanu, the heroes of Biafra land, is going to court today. Yes, of course, and Samuel Ekpa is not coincidence. Samuel Ekpa too is going to court in Finland today after yesterday court basketballs, and which I will go to relate to you guys today. Please, if today is your first time of watching my video, coming across my video, subscribe to this channel, on your notifications so that anytime we drop video, you can easily see it in time. Please share this video. Let me also use this opportunity to thank as many of you who wished me happy birthday yesterday. Yesterday was my birthday. You wish me birthday, share my video, comment on my distance and all that. Thank you. God Almighty will continue to bless you. And at the same time, some of you who have been praying for me on this platform, that God Almighty will guide me. Thank you. I say amen to your prayer. And also to some of you who are sending a 30 video for me, a message to me, I should stop talking about Biafra, this and that and all that. Of course, we all know that I've told you people time without number, I'm not an Igbo, and I'm from the Middle Belt, and I'm proud of where I'm from. But the fact is that we are no more afraid of death anymore, because people who are crying today, many of them, they tell them they are going to die, they will not believe. So because of this fear of death is what has kept us of where we are today. Everybody is scared to speak what is happening in the society, and you can see that our society is getting worse today. Yes, of course, the legal team of Nnamdi Kanu have prepared a bombshell ahead of today's trial, June 13, 2025. Yes, of course, it is now glaring. It is now being seen now that Nnamdi Kanu have no case to answer. But we are waiting for the final verdict, because as we all know that he's still waiting. The Justice Omotosho will also still wait to hear from the president before he gives verdict. And that's why I said this at the first time, that if Bola Ahmed Tinubu want to be sincere enough, as he claimed that he loved the Igbos, as the Igbo counterpart governor were giving him a DK1, I mean the wife, they give a different DK, is that if Bola Ahmed Tinubu feel that he loved the Igbos, why did he start this trial of Nnamdi Kanu afresh? Why is anybody not talking about that? Yesterday, did you people see what happened in court? That IPOB member were reportedly seen to testify against Samuel Ekpa in court, who manipulate their brain. Why is nobody is asking these questions? I'll give you a time to watch the video of the bombshell that the Nnamdi Kanu lawyers right now are prepared for today against. Download everything that happened against Nnamdi Kanu, how Buhari, Malami, Lai Mohammed, and the rest of them kidnapped him and blindfolded him and bring him to Kenya. Everything is in the public domain. I will show you people. I've told you people time without number. We are hearing the news that is going on in circulations. How 100 youth of Benue who want to stand up to retaliate about this spying of their people in their community, but suddenly Nigeria Army now reportedly that they are being arrested by Nigeria Army. When T.Y. Danjuma came up and said these people have compromised against this insecurity, people stoned him. People say, oh, he's mad. The last man there, whether Daniel, something like that, the man who revealed their secret, then not required, they eliminate that one too. For you to know that there are people who are behind this insecurity. What is their aim? What did they want to achieve? That they are buying people in number like this. Why is Nigerian military allegedly now reportedly arresting these 100 Benue youth? Just because they want to stand up and counter these people. Since the military government that they are waiting on the federal government give them a lot before they will fight the insurgency. Do you now see the country we have ourselves? So if you are an Igbo man, you watch up to this very end, you still believe that Nigeria is for you, have a rethink. That this country has been given to some people who they claim they are not Nigeria. They are coming from outside Nigeria, outside Africa country to come and pursue people who hold their land to take over the land. And here we are talking that we are helpless. This issue of Boko Haram that we have been fighting since 2002 up to this very moment, Boko Haram is getting stronger on a daily basis. It doesn't take Obasanjo to level Odi down. But when such kind of thing happen in the north, nobody do anything about it. And what baffled me that some people still believe that this is one Nigeria. Nigeria is non-negotiable. Who tell you that? Did you people now listen to Bola Ahmed Tinubu yesterday in court? yesterday for people is being honored. Where is Igbo man that has been honored yesterday by Bola Ahmed Tinubu? No, if we talk, they say we are saying a word that is not causing unity in Nigeria. These people, are they trying to unite Nigeria? When I say Igbo have been deleted out of Nigeria, some people, they curse me, some people are saying these things. And that's why I say you people should not be deceived with what Peter Obi is doing. If Peter Obi becomes the president of Nigeria today, I bet you all that Obi will be worse. Obi will do things so to make the masses happy, but they will manipulate Peter Obi. Just the way these people succeeded in manipulating Jonathan. Today, Jonathan lived all his life to please these people. Build school, he refused to invest in the South. Even the state he came from, he could not do any single project in the state, in Bayelsa State. But that is the same people who poured speed on him in 2015. What make you think that if Obi is there, even most of the things that Bola Ahmed Tinubu is doing, Obi cannot do it? Because of the religious factor. And Bola Ahmed Tinubu has grown wings. He has gathered people. He has money. Can't you see the system that is working for Bola Ahmed Tinubu will not work for Peter Obi? If you call for Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he will not fight you with EFCC or fight you anything. He will use his money to fight you. How much do you want? If you see that maybe you are loaded in your own side, they will threaten you with EFCC. At the end of it all, you succor. Can Obi go on extra mile to use money to be winning people to his side to support him? Obi will not do that. So how do you now tell me that Obi will succeed in this wicked politician we have in Nigeria? Many people who are running to Bola Ahmed Tinubu today, it's not that they like Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He's been winning them with his money. If you feel that the money cannot win you, they will treat you with the EFCC or DSS. Today, when we emerged yesterday that we heard in Borno as 66 Boko Haram reportedly being released from prison by the governor of the state. Even Bola Ahmed Tinubu yesterday, James Ibori was being pardoned. What is he telling you? They are paddy. Go and steal. There is nothing mega. A man who has been tried outside Nigeria, tried in Nigeria, but yesterday, the only thing the president will have to give us in our democracy is to pardon him, give him a pardon. Where's Fred Nwosu yesterday? A man who took the risk during that the anointed election, during Baba Abacha. We knew what Abacha is. He was still calling result. He was still calling result. Just because he was not allowed to announce, he did not announce it. Some group of people, the Yorubas and the Hausa people now, say it cannot be mortalized like others. Compared to what Afro-Nwosu did to Nigeria as INEC chairman, with what Jega and Yakubu have done for us of recent. These are the two that I can recollect. The manipulation election Yakubu gave to us in 2023, after collecting billions of naira, promised that the election is going to be transmitted. The transmit Senate, the transmit House of Assembly, governorship. When he got to president, the one that will favor the Igbos, they shut it down. They said there is a glitch. They wrote WAEC here. All the whole Southeast was affected. They said there is a glitch. What is wrong for yesterday for Bola Ahmed Tinubu to give presidential pardon to Nnamdi Kanu? No. What is wrong? Let's be sincere. What is wrong to give him presidential pardon yesterday? Just because he's an Igbo man. Just because he's an Igbo man. That is just all. If Nnamdi Kanu were to be Hausa, Yoruba, Fulani, do you think he will pass through this challenge? If you say so, what is the difference between what Nnamdi Kanu, what he did is even far better with what Sowore is doing? Sowore is calling for revolution. You know what is the meaning of revolution? Today, Sowore is working free. Sunday Igboho went to UK to go and submit letter that they want to exit from Nigeria. Today, he still fly in, he fly out. because he's a Yoruba man. What is the offense of Nnamdi Kanu? Why did they form IPOB? Why did they have to form a Radio Biafra? And the Southeast governor, they are clapping hands. They are giving. I thought the award they give to Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his wife will make him to honor Igbos yesterday. Do you know millions of Igbo that died during Biafra war? Nobody's talking about. Here that some people are saying, don't celebrate the fallen hero. Celebrate, call it Igbo Day. But yesterday, they celebrate the June 12th. Even some people tell us yesterday was Yoruba Day. It's not Nigeria Day. Can't you see? But the man who intentionally, who is the NH chairman who did everything, they did not talk about him yesterday. We are watching.
Versus Nnamdi Kanu. It is divided into 3 parts and several sub-parts, which will be discussed under an introduction, an analysis, and an executive summary. Now to the introduction. Nnamdi Kanu's case began in earnest on October 14, 2015, when he was arrested on his arrival in Lagos from his location in the UK. The reason for this arrest, as it was alleged at the time, was due to broadcast he made from his location in the UK, comprising basically of his demand for the restoration of Biafra. He was then charged with treasonable felonies and other minor offenses. But later in time, Nnamdi Kanu was granted bail twice by 2 different courts, but the government of Nigeria disobeyed or otherwise unlawfully parried the court orders, and he remained not obeyed. However, much later, in April 2017, Nnamdi Kanu was eventually released on bail. Such was the case that on 16 December 2016, when the federal government withdrew all the charges filed against Nnamdi Kanu before the Chief Magistrate Court in Abuja, leading to the charges being dismissed also, and Nnamdi Kanu being thereby discharged. It will be recalled that these charges also were at that time dismissed. But the federal government doubled back and charged him back before the Federal High Court at this time. Beyond continuing to detain Nnamdi Kanu in disobedience of court order at that time, to the contrary, the federal government also did the unthinkable by arresting Justice Adeniyi Ademola, who had ordered unconditional release of Nnamdi Kanu at that time. According to several newspaper reports of 15th October 2016, Justice Ademola had stated, and I quote, "From the time of my arrival at the DSS office at about 6:45 p.m. on 8/10/2016, I was not told what my crime was for over 24 hours. Till the evening of 9/10/2016, a DSS officer officially finally informed me that the search of my arrest, that the reason for my arrest was based on these 3 allegations. 1, petition of Hon Jenkins Duvier, dated 4th of April 2016 to the National Judicial Council. And 2, granting bail on Sambo Dasuki. And 3, the unconditional release of Nnamdi Kanu. This was perhaps one of the earliest telltale signs that Nnamdi Kanu was in for a rough ride with the darkest side of the Nigerian criminal justice system. Consequent upon his grant of bail in April 2017, he proceeded to his ancestral home in Afaruku, Ibek, Umuahia in Abia State. For someone enjoying his bail and awaiting his next court date, it therefore came as a surprise, deadly surprise indeed, that beginning from 10 September to 14 September, the Nigerian Army and other security agencies launched lethal military invasion of Nnamdi Kanu's ancestral home, where he was staying with his members of his family and well-wishers. It was indeed a deadly assault that claimed at least 28 innocent lives. Nnamdi Kanu and his parents, who were on location, sustained injuries, and his parents later succumbed to those injuries, and they are now deceased. Well, it is there, as they say, the rest is history, that Nnamdi Kanu, in order to save his life, had to depart the territory of Nigeria in search of a safe haven overseas. You will also recall that sequel to this attack, Nigerian Army did not let off. They announced a nationwide manhunt of Nnamdi Kanu. And the immediate aftermath of that invasion, infamous invasion, Nigerian government promptly commenced a constitutionally questionable administrative action to proscribe IPOB and declare it a terrorist group. This decision was preceded by 2017, and accordingly, following these public declarations by our government officials on 20th September 2017, late Justice Kafrati of the Federal High Court granted the federal government her wish in an ex parte application brought before the justice by the former Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, SAN. In taking the decision to proscribe IPOB and declare it a terrorist group, neither the Southeast governors who fired the first salvo nor the federal government had recourse to Section 42 of the Nigerian Constitution, which is a fundamental right, a section guaranteeing the fundamental right of every Nigerian against discrimination based on ethnicity. I'm saying this because later in time this matter went to court, and the High Court of Enugu State, in a landmark ruling, pronounced the executive action or administrative action leading to that prescription as violative of Section 42 of the Constitution based on some ethnic considerations against the Igbo. Thus, by the plain provisions of that section, members of IPOB who largely hail from the Igbo tribe were generally criminalized. So to be clear, the practical application of any law enforced in Nigeria, including the Terrorism Prevention and Prohibition Act, or any criminal justice statute or legislation, has to be applied even-handedly across the board to all Nigerians without discrimination of any sort. But in this very instance, IPOB, having been perceived as springing from the Igbo and their cousins in the southeastern part of Nigeria, was singled out for the special act of discriminatory proscription and declaring it a terrorist group. Of course, this gave the federal government the legal license to direct its armed forces to resort to the rules of engagement, which required it to shoot to kill, not even shoot to maim anybody perceived to be a member of IPOB, and this has continued to this day. And of course, that was what culminated in the extraordinary rendition of Nnamdi Kanu from Kenya to Nigeria in 2021. It therefore follows that by failing to take action to proscribe other similarly related ethnic organizations, such as the Fulani Headsmen or Mietiala, or Udua People's Congress or Niger Delta Avengers, some of which are known to have borne arms and carried out violent attacks, but the federal government did not as much proscribe them or declare them terrorists as it did IPOB. It is our position, and which was confirmed by the court judgment I referenced, that the proscription was highly discriminatory. Now, in summary, the right guaranteed under that section is unarguably and essentially a right to freedom from any discrimination of any sort based on national origin or ethnicity, such as has been levied against the IPOB and its members, perceived or real, by the federal government since October 2017. The declarations made by the court are 3, and the orders issued 2. The court declared our action unconstitutional. It also declared that what IPOB is engaged in, the enterprise, is known as self-determination and that it is not unlawful. And the chance awarded $8 billion against the federal government for that action. It therefore came as a double whammy that in the next few days following the position of IPOB, the Attorney General of the Federation underscored the constitutionally prohibited finality of the action by gazetting it, and therefore criminalizing millions of Igbos who are perceived to be members of IPOB, whether the perception is real or not. And it also led to interdiction of their properties, money, and otherwise wherever found. It's also led to mass arrests, extrajudicial killings, torture, detentions without trial, and whatnot. Now, in March 2018, the African Union, through its African Commission on Human and People's Rights, which administers human rights adjudications in the continent of Africa, held against the federal government that the proscription was wrong under the African Charter, which bound Nigeria. Nigeria ratified the African Charter in 1983, and from that date it is bound by it. So this African Commission on Human and People's Rights had clear jurisdictions to decide this case, and it decided against the federal government and wrote a strongly worded letter to the then President of Nigeria to retrace his steps and restore status and cease and desist from further arresting or harassing or persecuting members of IPOB. Yet, from the date of issuance of that decision to when the former president left office, nothing was done. Rather, the opposite was done. The persecution, prosecution, arrest, torture, everything became even worse. It is pertinent to mention at this juncture, perhaps as a necessary digression, that had the former president of Nigeria implemented that directive issuing from the African Union, a lot of people who died numbering in hundreds, some say in the thousands, and in fact, including Nnamdi Kanu's infamous extraordinary rendition from Kenya in 2021, wouldn't have happened. A lot of lives would have been saved, and the nation would have been more at peace. And we will not have the insecurity that we are grappling with today in the Southeast. And further to the decision of the African Commission on Human and People's Rights, the United Nations, through its special rapporteurs, transmitted a decision in 2020, May precisely 2020, no, in October 2020, condemning the proscription, IPOB, and the terrorist tag placed on it. The quotations of what they said are contained in our press release, and they are verbose. But the summary of what they are saying is that the action of the federal government was driven by some ethnic considerations against the Igbo, and that the action offended every known canon of international human rights law. Consequently, this organ, which is a very important organ of the United Nations, directed the federal government to do the opposite by deproscribing IPOB. That the action was never taken to get that done, and So here we have it, that for quite some time now, these things have persisted, and here we are with the dramatis personae, this most single factor in this whole saga is Nnamdi Kanu, who remains in detention to this day.